In the last two videos, we have seen about how to construct the recombinant DNA and how to transfer the transgene to the host cell. In this video, we will see about how to select the transgenic plant or microbe and the application of the transgenic plants and microbes. So the first technique to see the selection is blue-white colony selection. In this blue-white colony selection, it is widely applied in transgenic bacterial selection. So here, the plasmid vector which we use to construct the recombinant DNA, it has a gene called LAGC. This LAGC gene is responsible for beta galactosidase. This beta galactosidase will produce a blue pigment when it is in the presence of X-gal. So when this LAGC in the vector LAGC gene which has the multiple cloning site. So in the multiple cloning site, if our insert get ligated, then the LAGC gene is inactivated so that it will not produce the blue color in the presence of X-gal. If our transgene is not ligated, then the multiple cloning sites may get self-ligated and the LAGC gene is not inactivated and it can produce the blue color. So in the medium which has the X-gal, we can see the positive colonies in a white color and the negative colonies in blue color. So if the principle is if beta galactosidase is produced, X-gal is hydrolyzed to form 5-bromo-4-chloroindoxyl which spontaneously dimerize to produce an insoluble blue pigment. The colonies formed by non-recombinant cells therefore appear blue in color while the recombinant ones appear white. This is because when our transgene is ligated in the multiple cloning site, the LAGC gene will be inactivated. If it is not, the LAGC gene is not inactivated. This is the principle of blue-white colony selection. The next one is antibiotic resistant marker. This is another one selectable marker. It is a commonly used selectable marker. There are lots of antibiotics used. For example, hygromycin, kanamycin, spectinomycin, streptomycin, ampicillin, rifampicin are used to select the transgenic plant or microbes. The antibiotics is based on the vector which we use. Each vector will have the antibiotic resistant gene. So for example, if our vector has a kanamycin as antibiotic resistant gene, then when we put kanamycin in the medium for plant selection or for microbial selection, in plant selection will the positive seeds will germinate and the negative seeds will not germinate in the presence of kanamycin. Similarly, in microbe, only the positive colonies will grow in the presence of kanamycin. The next is a screening markers. Screening markers will report whether our transgene is present or not. There are lots of screening markers are available in plant molecular biology studies. The most commonly used are GUS and GFP. GUS is responsible for beta glucuronidase enzymes, which is a very versatile reporter of gene expression that is frequently used in plant molecular biology. The best substrate currently available for histochemical localization of beta-glucuronidase activity in tissues and cells is 5-bromo-4-chloro-3-indoyl glucuronidase, which is XGLUC. The substrate works very well, giving a blue precipitate at the site of enzyme activity. So the basic protocol for gas staining is just take some tissues from putative transgenic plants, which we consider as a transgenic plant, and put it in a solution which has XGLUC and incubate at 37 degrees Celsius for overnight. The next day, the positive transgenic plants will produce blue coloration. The negative will not produce blue coloration. The another reporter gene is green fluorescent protein. It exhibits bright green fluorescence when exposed to light in the blue to ultraviolet range. So when we observe that transgenic plant under ultraviolet light, it will produce a green fluorescent color. If it produces a green fluorescent, it is a positive transgenic plant. So now we will see about some molecular techniques to confirm the presence of the transgene. So the first one is agarose gel electrophoresis. So agarose gel electrophoresis separates a DNA based on their size. This agarose gel electrophoresis is the most commonly used technique for separating nucleic acid fragments that offers a broad separation range. A wide range of different sized nucleic acid molecules can be detected by adjusting the concentration of the agarose gel. So this technique can be used in different ways to analyze the transgene. For example, we know that using a polymerase chain reaction, we can amplify the transgene. So the amplified transgene can be run in agarose gel, and based on the size, we can see whether our transgene is present or not. And this technique is also used in another technique called Southern blotting. Southern blotting is used to hybridize the part of genomic DNA with labeled probes to identify whether our transgene is present or not. So Southern blotting is a laboratory technique used to detect a specific DNA sequence in the sample. A restriction enzyme is used to cut a sample of DNA into fragments that are separated using gel electrophoresis. The DNA fragments are transferred out of the gel to the surface of a membrane and detected by a probe hybridization. So the basic protocol involves restriction of the DNA, genomic DNA from the transgenic plant, then run the restricted genomic DNA in a gel electrophoresis, then denature the DNA using sodium hydroxide solution, then set up a similar kind in the agarose gel electrophoresis tank where keep the gel, and above the gel keep a nitrocellulose membrane, then above that keep some paper towels, then put some paper weight. So now make sure that this paper towel is one of the lowest paper towel is touching the buffer, so that it will start absorbing the buffer and uh, observing the buffer. During this time, the DNA present in the agarose gel will get absorbed by the nitrocellulose membrane. Then hybridize the membrane using the labeled probes, for example P32 labeled probes. Then wash the unbound probe and using autoradiograph visualize the presence of transgene in the nitrocell in the membrane. If our transgene is present, then it is a positive transgenic plant. If it is not present, then it is a negative plant. Similarly, there are other two blotting techniques like northern blot and western blot. Northern blot is used for RNA molecules and western blot is used for protein molecules. So there are few more molecular techniques like ELISA, enzyme-linked immunoassay, and real-time PCR techniques also used to analyze the integration of transgene in the transgenic plants. So next we will see about application of transgenic plants. The first one is herbicide tolerant plant. Herbicide tolerant plants are plants whose growth and development are not significantly affected by herbicides used on the weeds growing around them. So now we are using lots of herbicides to kill the other plants which is growing along with our crop. So if we have a herbicide tolerant plant and if we use herbicides to kill the herb, it will not affect our plant. For example, there are few commonly used herbicides like glyphosates, which is used for the transgenic plants commonly produced by Monsanto, and another one commonly used herbicide is Basta. So the next one is insect resistant plants. Insect resistant plants are generally are genetically modified plants which has some toxins to for certain insects. Say a commonly used toxin is Bt toxin. Bt toxin is isolated from Bacillus thuringiensis, and a commonly known plant for this transgenic plant is Bt cotton, which we already have in our country, and most of the farmers are using this Bt cotton in India. The next one is virus resistant. The plants defend themselves from virus infection by RNA silencing or resistant gene mediated mechanisms. Then flavor saver tomato, it is a genetically modified tomato plant. So normally the tomato plants will not have a longer shelf life. This genetically modified tomato plant is engineered so that it have a longer shelf life. So the next is a golden rice. It is a value added rice. It is a genetically modified rice which is capable of producing beta carotene in the endosperm, which is a precursor for vitamin A, and this plant is uh, uh, it produces vitamin A as a value added product in this golden rice. So the next one is biofarming. This technology is called biofarming, involves the insertion into plant cells of foreign genes coding for medicinally important proteins such as therapeutic proteins, monoclonal antibodies, and vaccines. The next one is bioremediation. Bioremediation makes use of living organisms to break down the pollutant into harmless natural compounds. Bioremediators, the organisms used for bioremediation, are most often bacteria, archaea, and fungi due to the rapid growth rate, variable metabolic needs, and ability to be genetically manipulated. And plants also used for this purpose. Biofuel. A biofuel is a fuel that is produced through contemporary process from biomass. Genetical engineering is also used to improve the process in biofuel production. So to summarize, in this video, we have seen about the selection and screening markers and application of transgenics. And in this whole session, we have seen about how to construct the recombinant DNA, how to transfer the recombinant DNA or the transgene into the host cell, and how to select and screen and analyze and the application of the transgenic plant and microbes. Thank you so much for listening.